Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
I am that dude, Bodkins. Patty to patty. It's ridiculous. No way. There's nobody else out there. He's your guy. Give a big round of applause. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another great episode of the BodkinShow. I am that dude, Bodkins, of course. Sorry about the little wacky intro there. It wasn't played on my end, but I think it was playing out loud. But either way, so last weekend, I didn't have a single guest. Guest canceled, but we are starting a little later, but because there's some technical difficulties, I don't know who's in, but we are starting a little later. And last week, I didn't have a single guest. I talked a lot of the fights that happened on UFC 285 last Sunday, if you missed that. So we didn't have a guest. So we decided, man, we have got to bring something special tonight. I got one, not two, but three guests joining me tonight. They talk all things sports, college basketball, pro football, whatever it is, these guys talk about it. Welcome to the show for the very first time, Rec Room Sports. Gentlemen, welcome to the BodkinShow. Thank you for joining us. We'll just go ahead, go around the room, introduce yourselves so we know the names.
We got first up. Go ahead, Trey.
T Sweat, better known as T Sweat, other known as T Sweat, but you call me T Sweat.
I'm Jay on the mic, Jay on the MIC, and I'm pretty much the heel of the group. You know, pretty much. We missing 1K, which is our actual host. But and then also, last but not least, hey, it's Mac O'Malley, aka Coach Joey. What's happening?
Hey, well, welcome, guys. Let's get started. How did you guys come about? I guess you guys are a foursome. So how did you four kind of form this Rec Room Sports?
Mainly just off of just us talking sports, man. We've been knowing each other for a while through mutual friends, getting up, meeting, talking about sports. A few of us, we travel a lot. We do a lot of sporting events. So it just came to a point where it was like, man, let's just document, or me personally just saying, I'm going to document myself and my travels, and I'm a big Braves fan. I go to a lot of Braves games, go to a lot of different games, as much as I can around. So it was like, hey, let's document us, talk, going to sports and sporting events, and then it just, hey, let's do a podcast, and that was it. We just met up. Joe came in. We pretty much did I believe our first show was like a draft party.
Yep.
And that was it. We took off from there.
You guys always been sports fans. Like, how did that start for you guys? It's becoming just like, involved into sports and just like this love of sports that you guys got.
It started young for me, man. Just my bigger brother, he was always a Los Angeles Lakers fan, so every Laker game would be on. Just turning on, watching sports from a young age, participating in city league. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, just growing the love of sports, especially basketball and football for myself. So it started young for me.
And me, myself, same thing, recreational sports. Started just playing baseball until about 8th grade, and got into the football. Was kind of into basketball, but not organized. But being with the homeboys, you always got to pick your team and try to have your team be the best team. And it's always an argument, debate. And then we felt like we should put it together as a show, and it seems successful so far. We're just trying to take off. Yeah.
Definitely. But Bodkins, other than I see you a big Green Bay fan. Definitely. So you got the right jersey up there. You got Reggie White. That's my man.
That's very first jersey I ever owned, Reggie White.
So, like, what about you? Like, how about your love for sports and how did it come up?
Hey man, you don't come on my show asking me the questions. I ask you the questions.
You're right, but I want to know. I told you, I said, yo, man, I have a thing for Green Bay fans because, of course, there's rich history. Not only that, it's just I said, yo, I'm gonna mess with him about this Reggie White, man. I gotta let him know I love the Reggie White jersey up there.
Hey, no,
Aaron Rodgers jersey.
So how I became my dad was a Packers fan, and at that time in the mid '90s when I was growing up, Reggie White, Brett Favre. I mean, he might be a piece of shit now, but back in the day when he was playing, he was a hell of a player. I mean, and he played the game a lot of fun. Just was out there having fun. Would do a lot of great things. I loved Reggie. And so I just kind of grew up become a Packers fan. And it just kind of, it's just one of the things, like you guys said, when you're like 9, 10 years old, you pick a team and, well, shit, that's the team I kind of stuck with and just kind of been riding with them since through the ups. And then it looks like we about to hit some down times, with looks like Aaron Rodgers is on his way out. So Reggie White. I remember my mom asked me one Christmas, if you want a Reggie White jersey or Brett Favre jersey. I said, give me a Reggie White jersey because Reggie's on his way. He's about to retire. He's about to retire. So I wanted to get a Reggie jersey. So I've had that jersey since about 95, 96. And I just kept it all these years and I just hang it up because it looks like he wore it because it's so wore down because I wore it for about every day of my whole 5th and 6th grade school year. So that's why it looks the way it looks.
Awesome.
So let's jump to it. I want to jump into this college basketball because two of y'all North Carolina fans, and one of y'all is a Duke fan. So I had to bring up. Sorry about it. The first time since 1985, I believe, the preseason #1 ranked team fails to miss the tournament. What's y'all's thoughts on North Carolina missing the tournament, and what the hell happened?
It's been a rough year. Had a hell of a run last year. The Duke fan laughing, but he was crying last year when we beat Coach K.
Exactly. Mighty
for his last game.
How things turning.
You know what I'm saying? Man. In the Final Four and the last time we played them, in the regular season, we gave them L's. But fast forward a year later, made a magical run. Same team, ran it back. I think a lot of ego got involved. A lot of people worrying about their draft stock. Trying to ensure they're lottery picks or looked at as a lottery player. Came to bite us and not the cohesiveness. Ended up having a bad season up to UNC standards. Was a bubble team. Should have made a deeper run in the ACC tournament to help us. Couldn't get that done. But overall, it's a tough season, but we'll bounce back. We got a lot of recruits coming in next year, a lot of top recruits. So I'm looking forward to Hubert Davis being able to coach a young batch of kids instead of, sometimes the seniors that stay along, sometimes it get tricky, when the next level comes into play. And I think that was what happened with the team a little bit.
I don't know, man. It was rough. It's rough for me. I can't take it because you argue all the time.
I said, that's what she said, right?
This is terrible. It's terrible. Like, as far as what we want as fans, what we expect, our expectations as North Carolina fans in general is to see the tournament every season. Even in our roughest years, we might be talking about an 8 seed, 5 seed, something like that. But to where when you go into next season, you start off on a hot seat. With one Hubert Davis, you definitely starting off on the hot seat. When you come off of a season like that, you have to start off way better than we did this past season. Initially, it's just not to our standard. But with the recruits, I'm not very faithful. Not me. I'm not. No.
I like the recruits we got coming up. You seen them? I'm telling you, some top players, bro.
So
we finally getting the second and third best point guards in the high school coming in. You know what I'm saying? It's like some legit, real good guys.
This is Davis's second year. Let me ask you this, because my guy Andy from NFL Outdated said NC needs to bring in Stackhouse. Jerry he's got Vanderbilt. Jerry
can stay at Vanderbilt right now. I think Hubert Davis is the guy. His first season, look what he's done. He's already, to me, last year he cemented himself in giving him time, if he needed time, to develop as the coach in his first year. Making a Final Four run, making it to the championship, coming up short on the last second shot, played it down to the wire. We had a magical season. Nobody expected that to go as smooth as it did when it mattered. So I'm gonna give them some grace. Yeah, we didn't reach the tournament this year, but last year we was just in there, making big statement wins in a rivalry series that are going for the ages between us and Duke. So 2 big wins on his part being Duke last year. We lost twice to Duke this year. I'm gonna give him some grace. Let him get his guys in, his recruits in, and we'll see how it goes.
And T Sweat on your end, Duke makes the tournament. First year without Coach K. You got to be pretty pleased with the new coach and the way the program's headed.
Definitely. I don't really like the seeding that we got because of our, second half of the season run. I feel like we should have got a higher seed, but I'm real confident. I actually do like the seeding, seeing how the brackets are. So it might be an easier route to the Final Four. So we'll see.
And since you guys are North Carolina's out, is there a team that you guys are rooting for? Anybody but Duke, obviously.
I'm just ready to see some upsets. This is my favorite, sporting tournament of all time. Like the March Madness bracket, like it's so entertaining. It's single game elimination. Small teams that have been together coming to playing that win a championship or a conference or whatever. They coming in. It's bound to be some upsets, some teams that we don't expect. Like who's going to be this year? St. Peter's, that they made a little run last year. Who's going to be that team this year that, captivates the world, and also just seeing some elite talent like Alabama. They got a lot of good players going to get picked. A lot of good teams have some good talent going in. Seeing those guys get a good competitive, run, get some eyes on them to see what they can do at the next level in the NBA. They're going to be really bringing the A game. Ready to see that occur.
I'm looking at Kansas. It's Kansas for me. You can't see, the veteran teams definitely take you a long way these days. But college basketball is not what it used to be. We can go 10 years back, 8 years back. College basketball is not like what it used to be. You can, you have a lot of stars emerging out of the tournament, but definitely Kansas is my dark horse. I would say dark horse, even though they come up with number 1 seed.
They're trying to go back to back to be the first time since the Gators to go back to back.
Exactly. I'll go with Kansas. What about you, T Sweat?
Fan or no fan, I'll say
we predicting who gonna win it? We just
I want to say Duke so bad.
I was joking. You want to say Duke.
I want to say Duke so bad, but I'm like in Houston. I know they was playing in a kind of weak conference, but I was watching the last game. They play a lot of defense, so that's big in the tournament. So maybe Houston to make that run that they're supposed to make.
And actually, the Final Four is in Houston, so if they make it,
that too,
they're gonna have a crazy advantage.
It would be wild if they did make it. I don't know if Houston can go make that deep run. I'm like you guys. I think it's more senior laden teams. I'm kind of with what you said, Jay. Though it's like, where are the stars at? Like where are they? 10 years ago, we had it just doesn't seem like there's this big name. I think the Miller kid out of Alabama is probably the biggest name in the tournament, but some of his notoriety is maybe more for off the court stuff than on the court stuff. Like, what happened? Is it the one and done that's kind of killed the stars in college basketball? Or are we just waiting for the tournament to anoint the next star? I know Gonzaga still got Drew Timme, and we all know him because he feels like he's been playing at Gonzaga for 20 years, but and they always got some white kid that can ball. But other than that, where are the stars?
It just, for one, I point towards parity. You don't have the kids that's wanting to go to North Carolina, UCLA, the same old. It's so much parity. And also AAU. AAU is killing it. AAU, and I don't mean to say it too much in a bad way. AAU is kind of helping, getting some kids out there, competition, and it's bringing competition up. So it's so many factors, but when you're down to you're talking about Rick Pitino at Iona, it's just not. It's just not the same. I mean, it's just not the same. It's not the same. I pointed to parity first, and then just everybody having an advantage now. Everything is pretty much kind of legal now, so it's not as hard for it's not for a smaller school. We say San Diego State. Now you see San Diego State as a pretty much a constant in the tournament. So it's just teams like that, the little teams, so to say, little brother teams, small teams, getting in. So I'll point towards parity, but definitely a lot more advantage due to AAU for sure.
I think the NIL deals, a lot of kids also going to play overseas and not coming to college, playing in the G League as well. I think you could see, you're seeing a lot of like the top 2-3 kids coming out of high school, not even going to college.
Wow.
That too.
Yeah, they jump in that G League and play for the G League Ignite, get a nice little contract. So it's definitely other avenues that they're approaching or taking instead of playing college ball, which I'm not upset at. But yeah, that definitely is a factor. That definitely plays a factor. I also think that a lot of guys are talented, but due to playing in the college system, they don't get to display their talent a lot, and you just got to get scouted. And they'll be lottery picks, but they won't be guys that will be like, oh, they were making a lot of noise. It'll be 4 or 5 of them that slip through the cracks that definitely wasn't allowed to display all their talent at the college level for whatever reason.
And before we switch to a little bit of football talk here, how did y'all become North Carolina fans, and then how did you become a Duke fan?
Go let the Duke fan go first.
I mean, my earliest memories were when the Grant Hill days. Those are my earliest memories. Just for some reason I love how Coach K was coaching, like how the team always rallied around him, and then I'm always the underdog person. UNC is like the automatic. Almost everybody that is a fan of North Carolina. One reason Michael Jordan, but I ain't gonna talk about that. But just being an underdog person, just always wanted to be.
There will be no Michael Jordan blasphemy on this network. Sorry, Brian. I can't have Michael Jordan. Hey,
really appreciate that.
I'm a Michael Jordan purist through and through, brother. I will. There is no Michael Jordan slander on this here program.
You're invited to my wedding.
Hey, I'm married.
That.
Me, I've always been I'm from New York. I'm originally from New York. So of course you're from New York, Big East. That's all you know.
Syracuse, UConn, Georgetown.
That's all you know. It's almost like what? Who? North Carolina? Yeah. What? You see these teams, and it's like the Big East is it. Seton Halls, you go your St. John's and your Syracuse's, and it's just that's it. You don't know anything else from the I was in the DC days, the Derek Coleman days of Syracuse, and it's just coming down south. Of course, the one, the only Michael Jordan. It's like, oh man, North Carolina. Hey, playing basketball when I was younger. Basically, I actually went to basketball camps in North Carolina and got to meet a lot of players going in. Got the Sheets, the Stackhouses, the McKinnis's, all the coaches that has ever pretty much went through North Carolina, and it just turned me on to North Carolina as far as trying to go and trying to pursue a basketball career at a young age. But I've always been a Carolina fan since I pretty much touched ground in the South.
I actually became a North Carolina fan just watching college basketball when I was younger. My mom actually bought me a Michael Jordan UNC jersey though. And I can actually say that's like the first jersey, a team I fell in love with because of the colorway of their jerseys as well. That baby blue kind of stood out to me. She bought me the jersey. At that time, Vince Carter was there, and he was going crazy. So that team was definitely fun to watch that year, and I've just been a fan ever since.
We're kind of same. I'm the oldest here. We're kind of speaking of our age.
Yeah.
When he says like Vince Carter days was coming out, I'm old. I'm old, man. I'm getting old.
I've always kind of liked both teams. Both guys I will always watch Duke, North Carolina. It doesn't matter if they're like the number 1 and 2 ranked team or if they're like not even ranked because that rivalry is so fun to me and it's so great. So I always watch both of those teams play, especially their games against each other. I always kind of like North Carolina, obviously for Jordan. And then when I was coming out of high school, Tyler Hansbrough's from Missouri, where I'm from too. Different, not same city, but same state. I always kid that he was ranked number 1 in Missouri, and I was ranked dead last in our basketball career. So if you pull up the rankings, it'll have him 1 and me dead last. So I was kind of rooted for North Carolina when he was there, just so I could say, hey, we graduated and we were both ranked, and he was just our about 5,000 different rankings between us. So
wow,
I'll leave out the 5,000 part. I'll just go with it. I'll just go with it like it was, and that was great. I'll tell that at weddings, like everywhere. Like, hey, y'all.
Hey, I keep it real, man. I keep it real. I can't. I don't lie. I don't lie. Just I keep it 100. And so let's switch gears a little bit. Talk a little football here. We got a little collection of Rams, Commanders, and T-Sway. I didn't get your what's your football team?
I'm always the eyeball, the underdog. Jacksonville Jaguars.
Man, hey, right now you might be the best team of the bunch. You might be the best. You might be the best team in the bunch. Let's start with the Commanders, and we'll just kind of work our way around. Jay, the Commanders. First of all, I believe they need to get rid of their owner. Dan Snyder needs to go 6 years ago. What's next? What does this team need to do outside of finding an owner? Is it get a new coach? Is Sam Howell the quarterback? What's your stake on Commanders football?
I believe just the franchise as a whole has been in shambles, from the top down, to what we can say now is the Rivera. It stops right there, so to say. He has some type of stability of what he's doing. He actually kind of, from what people say, he pushed Dan Snyder out. Said, look, you need to handle you. I'll handle what's in here. And that was probably one of the best things. But what we need outside, it's just, we just need outside of, there is nothing outside of Dan Snyder. I just really believe, I believe it starts right there. It's like the dark cloud, and there's nothing can get brighter unless he leaves. Like, that's it. Everything else, for once, and I can say for once, other than the stadium situation, which, people in DC pretty much know very well about the situation, how ugly it really is, how ugly it looks, as far as our old stadium to our new old stadium, which is FedEx Field. It is a piece of crap. So it's just, outside of the ownership, I mean, I can't say much. I would say, like, get the city behind us for certain things. As far as a new stadium, sad to say we need another new stadium. It's outside of the owner. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question.
But the city, from my understanding, this is an outsider's perspective from everything I know, is that the city does not want to work with Dan Snyder to build a new stadium. As a fan, like I don't even have an owner as a Packers fan, but how do you even just continue to be? Are you just a fan because, like, hey, I was a fan always, once a fan, always a fan. Like, how do you continue to, after you read all the shit that this guy does, you continue to try to support him? Like, I just, I find it interesting.
You're right, man. You're kind of hitting something on the head there. I questioned my loyalty so many times during the season. Oh man, definitely before the season started, especially with Del Rio's comments. So it was just, it's a lot going on. You would think I don't know what I'm gonna put disclaimer out there. Being from New York again, I grew up a Giants fan. People talk about quarterback controversy. My first ever quarterback controversy was Sims Hostetler. If you're familiar with that.
Yeah. Hostetler won the Super Bowl replaced Phil Simms.
Exactly. And moving out of New York, it was almost like, I'm free to actually venture out. And I always loved the Fun Bunch. So it was just like, hey man, it's a pretty cool idea if I actually go with those guys, because they had the great dances. I was young. I knew nothing about football. All I know was how they did the celebration dance where they do pretty much the Tootsie Roll, and that was pretty much it.
You could have been an Iggy Woods fan. You could have been a Bengals fan with Iggy was out there dancing about that same time.
You're right. I was definitely a fan of the dance, but that was about it. But definitely, I fell in love with the back then the Redskins and now Commanders. I fell in love with them just because at the time the NFC East was I would say superior. It pretty much all roads through the NFC led through the NFC East. They rotated. as far as the Eagles, the dominant defenses when they had the Randall Cunninghams, and they still had way more superior teams as far as the Cowboys and the Giants. So it's just so much, rich tradition in the NFC East, which kept me there. But it just, I left when Lawrence Taylor was, I'm not gonna say washed up, was like, yo, he's at the club every week. He's not even playing football anymore.
Jay,
it's like, you know what?
Hey, Jay, he wasn't at the club. He was in the back alley, with cocaine and hookers. That's where MC was. He wasn't at the club, brother.
He got a game today. Oh snap! And goes out there and runs a pick six. Once he left, I was like, you know what? I'm gone. I'm going too. Hey, I'm done. And that was it. That was pretty much it.
Is Sam Howell the next guy at quarterback for the Commanders?
As far as Sam Howell, I'm willing to take that risk, being the fact that almost everything around is a positive. Just being, I was ecstatic that they actually not only franchised Daron Payne, but
didn't pay
got him a deal.
Yeah,
right.
He got paid.
Got him a deal. Got him the 4-year, $90 million contract, and that was like, okay, they're on something here. Like they're actually on it. But as far as Sam Howell, I'm willing to take that risk. I'm really willing to take the risk. The Lamar Jackson deal, I was just praying, like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. I don't want to broker the future for what, for what we have going now. Just staying steady course. May not feel right. We only have $15 million in salary cap. What are we gonna do? What are we really gonna do? So
Yeah. I don't think Lamar's I don't think he's going to the Commanders. I just don't think Dan Snyder's willing to pay that money. I mean, he's not even willing to pay to, fix the poopy pipes in the stadium, much less go pay Lamar Jackson guaranteed money. I think the Commanders have the defense. I circle the quarterback as like that. And I do question, Ron Rivera is a great man, but I do question his coaching ability because he's only had about really 2 solid years. And that one of them was with, Cam Newton to the Super Bowl. And then he took you guys to the playoffs when you guys were like 8-8. Other than that, he hasn't had like winning success. In fact, he has a losing record as a head coach. Great guy, but I question his actual head coaching ability.
In Carolina, I think his hands were tied. I think his hands were really tied by, the Gettleman. Every time I say his name, I can't help but to laugh or something. But the Gettleman situation, that whole tenure, I think his hands were tied. If it wasn't for him making the coaching decisions, we would have had a lot more turmoil in the Carolina than we actually had. I think he kept a lot of things steady. So you take that to Washington, and I feel like that's been the only steady. And I'm kind of with you with what everything that you said. I'm with you, but it just seems like these coaches nowadays, you get you a great minded offensive coordinator, which we let 3 just walk out the building and become head coaches. But you get a great mind at offensive coordinator, and then you put the right thing around you. You can pull it through. You can make it work. You can make it work.
Well, they got a great mind. We'll see with Eric Bieniemy, and we'll see what happens. Scott Cobe wants to know what should the Commanders do in free agency?
I think we need to get some cornerback talent. I still think we need a good vet at the corner position somewhere in the defensive backfield. That's for sure. That's for sure. Because we don't need any. Maybe on the offensive line, we can take all the help we can get. On the defensive line, hell, we need depth. We always gonna every team needs depth, but for sure, defensive backfield for sure. Sure.
Yeah. I think so too. Our O-line and in the backfield, I think you got the best, maybe when healthy, the best front 7 in all of football. If with Chase can come back fully healthy, you have Scary Terry there as a wide receiver. Gibson and Robinson seem like a nice running back duo. So it'll be interesting to see what the Commanders do. Let's shift to the Rams here real quick. Trading Jalen Ramsey today. That was the big NFL news for pretty much a bag of balls. What's your thoughts on Jalen Ramsey getting traded for a soda pop and a washing machine?
Yeah, man, we got a 3rd round pick and tight end, 1 year, 2 year tight end that been in the league. He was a 3rd round pick previously as well. Comes down to like we sent Jalen to where he wanted to go. We traded him in good faith instead of trading him and making better, because other teams were making better offers. So instead of taking a better offer, we kind of sent him where he wanted to go for whatever reason. From a friendship standpoint, yeah, that's nice. But from a business standpoint, being a fan of the team, Jalen Ramsey, one of my favorite players to play for the Rams. So I hate to see him go. But if we was gonna trade him and we needed to get rid of the cap relief or whatever, get as much as you can. It's gonna come out a little later on what we was offered, but it was better than a third round. But moving forward, man, this season, we had a lot of injuries last year, so looking forward to everybody being back healthy. Matthew Stafford, hopefully he comes back 100%. He's been having a lot of injuries going on. We're gonna see what's going on with him. Aaron Donald could come back 100%. Cooper Kupp come back 100%. So a lot of our guys was out. O-line was decimated with injuries. Just hopefully have a decent draft, and we'll be back in the mix of things, man.
What draft picks you got? Because last time I looked, the Rams ain't have a single draft pick till 2030.
Nah. That's behind us now. So we're back in the first round starting next year. But this year we have 4 compensatory picks that came in really big. We just was awarded by the NFL. So now we have 3 third-round picks, a 4th-round pick, 3 5th-round picks, 2 6th-round picks, and 3 7th-round picks. And we have a second as well. We have a second as well. We picked number 36 overall. So we got a good amount of picks. We just don't have a first rounder.
Hey, Whiskey Sports Podcast was talking about the Dolphins made that move just to finish 3rd in the AFC East. So shout out to my guys.
Look scary, honestly. Adding Jalen Ramsey, he might not even have to be the number 1 corner because they got Xavier Howard over there. They might line him up at number 2. They got Nick Fangio now as their defensive coordinator. Traded for Bradley Chubb last year.
That defense is going to be nice. Yeah, they got a good team.
They're going to be scary. They're going to be scary.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers might be going to the Jets, which I don't. My thought process is I don't understand him going to the Jets because
not now with that, because they just got. If I look at it, if I'm Aaron, I don't know if I want to go now. It's so dangerous in that division.
The whole AFC is right. Like, I mean, we're talking about the Rams here, and really, if the Rams could stay healthy, they could be in the mix of things in the NFC.
It'd have been a different story last year if we was healthy.
In the NFC, because you look at it, who's the top team in the NFC? The top quarterback? It's just the Eagles. That's it. All the heavy hitters are in the AFC. Like, outside of that, if you're a middling team, you can make a run almost to the Super Bowl because there's not a whole lot of roadblocks to get there in the NFC. AFC, you got to absolutely go through some dudes to get there. And Aaron's talking about going to the AFC. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, you're right about that, and it's like you said, it would be a great path to the Super Bowl through the NFC. You would think now it's like I kind of cringe when every time somebody from the NFC is saying, "Hey, I want to go to I'm going to an AFC team." It's like, what are you doing? Why would you like the NFC South? That's where I'm trying to go right now.
Wide open right now.
But I will say this: team with no team has. I guess the Saints signed a Derek Carr. That's the only franchise quarterback in the whole division.
Yeah, Oof. Yeah, but the Panthers are going to draft their franchise quarterback of the future.
But what weapon are you going to go through? Who are you going to hand the ball off to? Who are you going to throw to?
They got a lot of picks.
Got nobody.
That was a PR trade.
They got a lot of picks with that pick with San Francisco. They did trading Christian McCaffrey. So even though they gave up a lot to acquire that first round pick, they still got a good amount this year to fill out.
They do.
They already have a real good defense in Carolina. They just got to figure out the offense now.
They've got a young defense coming up. I do agree, but I mean, with a rookie quarterback, it would be hard for me to pick them to win the division still.
Yeah, it's wide open. Because what is Atlanta going to do? Ritter is trash to me. I mean, I haven't seen a lot from him last year. They played him. They put him out there. He started a little bit. Tampa Bay. I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback at all now that Brady's retired. So, I mean, it's still wide open. The Saints are looking like they're in the best position. But next year, I think the NFC is going to have a lot to offer in up-and-coming teams like the Detroit Lions. We're going to see what the Bears can do now that they acquired some extra picks and DJ Moore is in place, getting some weapons around Justin Fields. It seems like the third year, a lot of the young quarterbacks get to really take off. They start putting weapons around them. I.e. Jalen Hurts, i.e. Josh Allen when you got Diggs, different things like that. So I think it's going to be some surprising teams come out of the blue.
I kind of agree with that. What would you like to see the Rams do to kind of get back on track and back into the playoffs and maybe win the division? I think healthy, they're probably still second at best to the Rams are the 49ers. I think that they could compete with the Seahawks. and take that second spot, but I don't see them. I don't know if I see them jumping up to the number 1 spot in that division.
Yeah, the 49ers lately have had our number in the regular season. We haven't beat them in the last 4 seasons. I want to see us address the O-line first and foremost. Left tackle Whitworth, he retired, and that left a real big void that we never filled. And then on top of that, everybody just got decimated. We had like 4 starters get hurt for the season on the O-line. So get that addressed through the draft, and I'll get the guys that we're going to have coming back healthy, get Matthew Stafford in place. I just want to see us healthy. Cooper Kupp, he went down, Aaron Donald. But during the draft, we have to now avoid that cornerback with Ramsey's departure. So we got to address that. Who's going to be our number 1 cornerback? So O-line, cornerback, and maybe an offensive weapon and a wide receiver maybe. But we definitely got to address defensive line, cornerback, and offensive line in the draft.
We've been it seems like every year we're here to Sean McVay's may come back, leave. Are you tired of that program? Are you glad to see McVay come back?
I love McVay. McVay's the best thing that ever happened to my organization. He was
you don't miss the
hellified
Jeff Fisher days. You don't miss the 8 and 8 Jeff Fisher days.
No. Look, I'm a real Rams fan. I'm talking about the 2-14 seasons, the 3-13 seasons, the Sam Bradford days, the not being able to score a touchdown in the whole 4 quarters of NFL football days. So Sean McVay came in and revamped my whole team. He got a great offer to go host and just talk the game. And, he wants to start a family. He's still a young man in his mid-30s. So I'm not mad if he wanted to explore the options. He recommitted. And I believe in the future. It's just so hard. We had like 4 coaches leave on our offensive side and become head coaches. So once the NFL logs on to you, everybody wanted the next Sean McVay. They came and got him off our roster. You know what I'm saying? Cincinnati's head coach. He was a former offensive coordinator, past quarterbacks coach with us. LaFleur in Green Bay was once a offensive coordinator for us. So there's a lot of guys, that went to other teams, and it just kind of hurt us in the coaching area aspect. But we got a Super Bowl out of it, 2 Super Bowl appearances in the last 5 years. We're on the right track. We can have a down year. If it wasn't for injuries, we would be in the playoffs. I think we would have had a wild card spot. If Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald don't get hurt, I think we still could be healthy enough to get through there. But once Cooper Kupp went down, it was just over. That was pretty much our whole offense. So just get some more weapons, get healthy, and I think we'll be back in the mix of things to compete.
Yeah, I'm a big Aaron Donald fan. One of my favorite players to watch. He just like there's men in this league, and then there's grown ass men, and he's a grown ass man, and
That's
just
true.
you know what I mean. Like this, that's just he's what he does is a freak. How did you become a Rams fan?
I became a Rams fan in 7th grade, watching The Greatest Show on Turf.
Yeah.
Them, definitely just turned me into a fan. Marshall Faulk, Orlando Pace blocking.
Yeah.
On the defensive side of the ball. You got Torrey Holt, Isaac Cruz, Isaac Hakeem.
Hey, I'm from Missouri. I live here in Missouri. I remember that team. Hey, those teams. Hey,
Yeah,
I almost became a Rams fan, and then everybody became a Rams fan. So I said I ain't becoming a Rams fan. I was kind of like watching them and hoping they would do well when they first moved to St. Louis, and then like when they had the Jerome Bettis even and all them, and then they got good 1 year, and everybody was a Rams fan. I was like, I can't be a Rams fan now because everybody in my class at that time when I was became a Rams fan, I'm like, y'all ain't heard no Rams, and then they good for once.
Yeah, that was when I really started watching NFL football a lot during that year. So that was the team I picked, stuck with them, even though, it was great in that Greatest Show on Turf era. But then we kind of suffered some real terrible bad years consecutively. And I stuck with them through the downs, through the ups and downs. Even when we just had Steven Jackson, those years where we just had absolutely no talent. But, it's good to see where we're at in the state of culture of football. It's very it's a lot of parity in the NFL, so you might be good this year and then you're gonna get a number 1. Our schedule was brutal this past year, so you might get a different type of schedule, get some injuries here and there, and then you're on the bottom of the totem pole. So I'm just ready for a little fresh start and see where we go. We're in a competitive division. Everybody's seen Seattle's doing a lot. 49ers are the 49ers, so we're gonna see what Arizona do. So I'm ready to compete. It's gonna be an interesting season.
Speaking of ups and downs, that brings us to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are on an up right now. Trevor Lawrence looked like this year like the guy that we all thought he was gonna be. Looked like they took another step. Remember, they added Ridley. He's reinstated.
Right.
Looks like they're gonna be a team to reckon with in a crappy division. Count the Jags as to me is punching their ticket for the next 5-6 years. in that AFC South, and let's just see if they can compete with the gauntlet that is the AFC.
Right. I was very excited this year. Even in the beginning of the year, I was, I'm always talking trash about my team, but saying Jacksonville Jaguars, it doesn't sound true. But I honestly knew what we had on our roster, and I knew we could win games. Even last year, I almost feel like it was some tanking going on. I ain't gonna go that deep with it, but this year I feel like we found our identity definitely with Doug Peterson. That was a big reason why the way he coached our players, everybody rallied around him. And like I said, with Coach K, I like a coach that could get all the troops together. And we'll pick it back in a little bit. I grew up. I actually grew up a Cowboys fan. Off of just being a little kid, going to the fair, getting the Emmitt Smith picture. I wanted it from the throwing the dart thing, and I really don't like how, like you said, in Missouri, being in Missouri, all these Rams fans and stuff. You don't want to be like the fan of everybody. Sometimes you want to be different. So I wanted to be different. So I actually chose the Jacksonville Jaguars. It was around the time when Fred Taylor was about to leave, and they had Jones Drew, David Garrard. It was around that time, and I just stuck with them. I just dude, a lot of downs, not much ups at all. We had one up. Can't remember what year, but we went to the AFC Championship against the Patriots. I feel like we should have won that game, but I knew we had opportunities for ups, and I'm excited to see what we do in next season for sure. Draft wise, I just want more depth when it comes to the draft. I like our core. I want to make sure everybody's getting paid, and we just got Ingram on the franchise tag. I'm excited about that. I want to make sure we kept that because he was a big part of our offense. Like you said, really is there now, more speed. Kirk, he exceeded expectations. They were criticizing him because he got paid a lot of money, but he actually played good to what he got paid. So just excited about next season.
Yeah, you mentioned Peterson kind of rallying troops. I mean, nobody could have. Right. I mean, us four could have done a better job than Urban did the year before. So, I mean,
that experiment was bad.
So I think Peterson was the right guy. Scott Cope said that Pats Jags was 2018. So,
2018. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
that was a good year for me also. Thank you, Scott.
That's when that was, and Jalen Ramsey was on that team, and then they tore that down, and they've kind of rebuilt it. I'm excited to see what Trevor Lawrence can do and where they can go in the next few years. Before we talk to Little, let's pivot to NBA. I heard some Lakers. You guys are Laker fans for the most part. Can the Lakers?
I'll be honest. I'm a LeBron fan.
Yeah.
You know how that goes.
Well, hey, let's go. Before here we go. Can the Lakers make the playoffs? Can the Lakers make the playoffs without LeBron because he's out at least another couple weeks?
Yeah. Yes, we can. I'm loving what I'm seeing right now from this Lakers team. The trades have really benefited and paid off for us, in my opinion. D'Angelo Russell is looking impressive. It's been so long since we've had a really good guard in the LA uniform, and I'm excited because he's still young. So he's a great piece. Austin Reeves is balling right now. As long as AD can stay healthy, he's an X factor for our team. Vanderbilt, just so many new additions. Beasley, the new additions are just playing so good basketball, and Schroeder is actually playing some decent ball too. So now that unfortunately, I love Russell Westbrook, just not on my team. Now that we got rid of him, it's like greener pastures are here, and the standings are so close. Every game matters, so we're approaching every game like it's a playoff game. I think that's our mindset, and I think we're going to hold it down. And when LeBron comes back, that's when it's going to really take off to another level. I don't think a team wants to see us in the playoffs. I think we actually get ourselves to a 6 seed and avoid the play-in. As good as we're looking right now, I think we go on a run, and I think we get ready to get ready for this playoff run. In a Wild West, the West is really crazy right now.
It's top to bottom. I think from like the last time I looked at standings, like the 13th seed to like the 3 seed separated by about 3 games.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, like just last week we was just the number 12 seed. Like so, and now
Right.
we're in the 9th seed right
Number
now.
9,
And if we
yeah.
win tonight, I think we could jump into the top 8. So it's just crazy right now. And in that 5 through 10 range, it's really do or die every night.
Got it.
Let me ask you guys this question. So, Jordan or LeBron? The guy said he's a LeBron fan,
Please don't. Please, Nick, don't do it.
I
Nick.
mentioned Jordan. Jay said, "Hey, I'm invited to the wedding because I'm a Jordan fan." So,
Don't do it, Nick.
what? Hey, I got to, man. I got to. So go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What's the question? I'm sorry.
Did Jordan and LeBron? Go ahead, man. I can't
GOAT?
believe you didn't hear that question. You are all people.
Is it who's better? Is it who's better?
Yeah, the great. Who did you stamp? Who are you
This
stamping
dude
as
is
the
being
greatest of
real
all
bad
time?
for
I'm gonna be honest. At this moment, Jordan is still, but at the end of LeBron's career, he will be. That's my real.
What's he got to do to take over Jordan? What to you?
Honestly, critics wise, and analysts, whoever debates or critiques it, I feel like the championship thing is going to be a big part of it, because obviously he's the leading scorer, and it's like he's not even the leading scorer. But I feel like if he can find some way to get 2 more rings, I feel like the argument is over. Me personally, but that's just me. That's just me being a fan, and the stats shows for itself also.
That is just him. Well, I'm not gonna speak for Joe, but I've been a Jordan fan. I'm gonna stay a Jordan fan. I think he's right now. I think he's better. I believe I do agree with Trevor as far as him getting a couple more rings. I think right now he's actually a better all around player. I just think Jordan. I'm gonna give it to Jordan just off of the things that he actually he leaped over, so to say. Just with him with marketing, just different things he actually ushered into the game. I always had this saying, like, if you're first to do it, nobody ever do it like you, because you were the first to do it. LeBron did it better. I believe that he's expanded way more than Jordan has and will ever expand. It's just that you'll never beat the shoes. It's got to be the shoes. It's always going to be the shoes.
No competition with the shoes.
Right. So it's just like the biggest jump star ever. And I mean, this guy's older. Imagine, put LeBron in another 20 years in the shoe game and see what happens with that. So I believe they're the same person. It's just one taking being great. And one
I don't believe that they're the same. I disagree here, and this is what I tell people. I will never say LeBron is better than Jordan. It doesn't matter what the stats say. Because here's my thing: is this? I'm pure. Like I said, I'm a Jordan through and through. I'll never change my mind. I don't think, but I know that about myself. So it's hard for me to argue, against. But I will say this: Jordan's will to win is there was nobody like it. At an elite level. When you needed a bucket, you knew he was going to go get you a bucket. When you needed a steal, he was going to go get you the steal. LeBron and Magic, to me, are more of the same type of player as playmaking. Got to have the ball in their hand, can dish it a little bit better, drive a little bit better. LeBron developed a better jump shot than Magic. But to me, Jordan is one of the purest scorers. And just his mentality, his will to win, that no doubt I'm going to take this game over. You know what I'm going to do, and you still can't stop me. Hey, I'm going to carry this team. I expect greatness from everybody, and that's why I'm a dickhead to my teammates, much like Kobe, because, hey, y'all ain't good enough. Y'all ain't great enough. And you guys mentioned the shoes. It's been 30 years since, 20 years, 2002, 2003, since Jordan played. Really since 98 when he was in his heyday, when he played with the Bulls. And the people are still out here beating each other up for his damn shoes. So that just goes to show you how crazy it is.
Exactly. I always give LeBron a respect just off of the fact that he was, I agree with the Magic. He's definitely a parallel with Magic, and Jordan was definitely the killer. Jordan, along with Kobe, were definitely killers. I always loved LeBron just off of the fact that he with what's going on, all the pressure that's been on him from day one, to kind of be flawless, kind of like spotless from that day, and that's kind of outside of basketball. But to be a spotless guy, we get into arguments all the time, and Trevor gets into like, with Jordan, they always say he never had failures. I guess he did.
That's my whole argument.
He had a lot of lost bets that he played. He played it off on the court, man. I always tell Trevor, like, he played it off on the court. He probably lost $1 million in the bet. Said, you know what? I'm just gonna put 50 up on Charles today, or whoever today, and I'll get over it. But he was just a different competitor, and I always loved Jordan for that.
Yeah, I kind of agree with LeBron has done it, and especially the social media phase, right, where everybody got a camera, everybody leaking shit out. Right. We talk about, news cycle 24 hours a day. I mean, some of the stuff he does on his IG is a little cringy or whatever, and this and that. Yeah. And we've kind of moved past the taking my talents to South Beach type thing. I mean, but imagine Michael playing in today's game, today's world, where he at the poker table till 3-4 in the morning. The news cycle picks that up. He's on TMZ. You know what I mean? I mean, the news cycle, does Jordan really care about basketball? He on the golf course till 3-4 in the morning. He's gambling till 3-4 in the morning. I mean, shit, there's conspiracy theories that he was really suspended by the NBA during that 1.5-year layoff for gambling debts. Like this. So Jordan wasn't squeaky clean, but it's weird to me how much where the news cycle would be like if Jordan was like that. He just didn't play in that social media era where we probably would have been poking holes at his character and saying a lot of bad shit about him. Instead, we hold him as the greatest of all time.
Probably be a comparison to James Harden. How they find him in the strip club. They see him in the strip club, and they got him on video. It's like, hey, man. And then he can't even get it together in the fourth quarter of the game. They're like, hey, shouldn't have stayed in the strip club at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Jordan could have done that, and then he put up 50 and carried 20 in the fourth. There's a difference.
It had to take his performance. Yeah, that's true.
I want to ask you a question, though. Who do you think, when it comes to NBA Finals, who do you think played tougher competition, LeBron or Mike?
Good question.
That's a good question. So Jordan's 6-0, and the rules will change a lot. That's the thing. I think Jordan in today's rules would go for a lot because you can't touch nobody. I'm a post player, so I love physicality. I believe that's the way the game should be played. I believe that you should be able to, somebody come in the paint. It's that's not a flagrant foul. That's just a hard foul. You got to protect the paint. That's your house. So where today's game is not so like that, you look at the guys that Jordan went through, the Pat Ewings. I mean, this is before even the finals, right? You got Clyde Drexler, one of the all-time greatest. He beat the bad boy Pistons. He beat, Sean Kemp, Gary Payton. You look at Charles Barkley. Man, I mean, he went through Malone and Stockton and Malone. Like they
went through some Hall of Famers for sure.
They went through some Hall of Famers. You look at LeBron. Let's see, he lost his first title to some Hall of Famers and Duncan and Robinson. No, I don't think anybody holds that one against him, right? Like, hey, you didn't have nobody. They was the better team. I think the one that everybody holds against him a lot and will continue to hold against him is the Mavs series, the 80, they should have won that series. Maybe even, really should have lost the first Spurs series because, he got saved by Ray Allen. That game was over. Man, but then you look at he did face the Warriors, and that team, man, we talk about maybe the Bulls versus the Warriors as two of the greatest teams of all time. So it's competition, man. It's hard. It's very comparable. I might give the edge to say LeBron might have faced because he faced that Warriors team like 3 times.
Four straight times.
2 times with KD, right? 1 time with KD or 2 times with KD even. So it's just, man, it's real tough, but I might give the edge to LeBron, but there's no way Jordan's losing to that Mavs team, and he probably closes out that Spurs team, I believe, especially you gave him Wade and Bosh, and I know he had Scotty, but other than Scott, Dennis, everybody says Dennis Rodman, but Rodman was not a scoring machine. Like Rodman's stat line would be 2 points, 15 rebounds, and everything else.
Yeah,
What?
but that Mavs team was a special team though, man. On the way to beating the Miami Heat, they beat my Lakers. I think they swept us, matter of fact. Then they beat a young OKC team with Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and James Harden. Then they went and took care of business with Miami. So I think that Mavs team was one of the most slept on teams, but one of the most respected NBA championships in my eye when I look at body of work.
I think
So
you take Dirk Nowitzki's run. That might have been the greatest playoff run by one single player in
Oh, yeah, he
NBA
was locked
history.
in.
yes, I think that is. And to me, that's number one. It's just amazing the guy's caliber of talent, how many Hall of Famers he beat on the way there to his championship.
And give Jordan a scoring point guard. Forget everything else. Give Jordan a scoring point guard. Okay, he had some 3-point shooters, but give him a scoring point guard. I'm gonna come up and I'm just gonna get a bucket.
Yeah,
never. And I that's another thing that you could look at with Jordan not having that. Nobody kind of really puts next to him. You got Scotty, who was kind of like a point forward, but just imagine the third guy in that triangle, just able to shoot other than Paxson and Kerr and Trent Tucker and Craig Hodges and all these guys. BJ Armstrong was able to just go get a bucket.
Yeah. Hey, before we get out of here, can you guys just list off your favorite player all time? I mean, we talked a lot about Mike, Jay Rich and Reggie White. So like your favorite player, like the one guy that you watched like growing up was like, man, this kind of got you into the sport that you love playing, or your favorite athlete, favorite player?
For me, it's Kobe Bryant, man. R.I.P. to the Mamba. Kobe Bryant is my favorite athlete of all time. Follow his career, even surrounding the high school buzz, just following his career since basically he was a senior in high school. He gets drafted initially by the Charlotte Hornets. We're from South Carolina, so he gets drafted by the Charlotte Hornets, gets traded ultimately to the Lakers, for Vlade Divac and some other stuff. And I already was a Lakers fan, and then this guy comes and he's supposed to be, the next Mike. He's supposed to be the next one. A lot of buzz, a lot of hype about him. Wins the slam dunk contest rookie year. Makes the All-Star game and scores 17 against Mike Jordan in a nice little matchup in All-Star game. So just fell in love with him. He kept blossoming, kept growing. Fro Kobe, just dunking on everybody. Shaq and Kobe winning 3 back-to-back. Going to a fourth one a year after they with Carmelo and Gary Payton falling short, and then
hell of a run.
Getting Shaq traded. I mean, Shaq gets traded and it's Kobe's team, and we go through some down years, but he's really scoring left and right, winning scoring titles, averaging 35, and then he finally, wins another 2 back-to-back and ends up with 5 championships, being an all-time great Boston Celtics team with, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, Rondo, KG, gutting that championship out. That was probably right up there to me in like a top 5 impressive championship. That's in the top 5 for me. Just watching his career, man, just his work ethic, the Mamba mentality, just my favorite athlete of all time, man.
For me, as far as football, I could go. I watched so many players. I thought so many players were great, but idolizing one would definitely be Lawrence Taylor. On the basketball side, it would always be Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing, man, just the certain level of respect that he gets at the center position is never going to be what he actually accomplished out there, the type of player he was. I mean, he ran like a deer up and down the court. As far as baseball, I love, again, New York, man. Darryl Strawberry could have been who knows what. I mean, if you take certain things out of it. So those are some players that I grew up in I guess 3 of the major sports, which was Lawrence Taylor in football, like I say, baseball, Darryl Strawberry, guys like Ricky Henderson, and just push me to play certain sports that I love. Major 3, baseball, football, basketball. Basketball was mainly, I was a Portland Trailblazers fan growing up after seeing Jordan shoot all those buckets on him. I was like, dang, man, terrible, man. Like they, it's like one of the best teams ever to lose, and they lost to the Pistons, and I was always a Blazers fan, but just mainly, like I said, Ricky Henderson, Lawrence Taylor, in basketball, Patrick Ewing. Those are my kind of guys I idolize. Sure.
Are you a Yankees fan or are you a Braves fan? I know you mentioned the Braves earlier.
I'm a Braves fan. I grew up a Mets fan. Mookie Wilson is actually my cousin, if you're familiar with Mookie Wilson.
Yeah.
Growing up in South Carolina, when I first moved to South Carolina, Earhart, South Carolina is where he's from. You go in Earhart, South Carolina. There used to be a sign after he hit that winning hit, slow rolling ground ball, home of Mookie Wilson. It was like, wow. He just hit a little ground ball, man. You would have thought he hit a grand slam home run, you know.
Yeah, they described it.
That is true.
That's dope.
It's true. Yeah, but for me, that just how we come up in sports, man, is what brings us together, man. This podcast is just brought up off of all of that, and just say, hey, man, like, Dad, why don't we do this? Like the guys, that actually played the game. I guess I always say once those guys get the hang of the podcast game, like you're gonna have to come pretty creative, you know. And
amen to that.
Yeah, so it's just it's the sports brings us together for sure. And just like us right now, brings everybody together, man. That sports is one thing that will bring everybody together.
Definitely.
That's for sure.
For sure. And where can we catch you? Oh, go ahead. I found my bad, Keith.
Oh no, you good. I would say NFL would be Deion Sanders, just what he did to the game of football. The National Football League, it just brought more excitement to that position, which wasn't a usual position to look at. And then he was also even Bo Jackson as well, but played more than one sport. So that was amazing to see. And me being a Braves fan, it just was kind of like altogether a great thing for me. So that was like one of my players I looked up to with football. Baseball was Chipper Jones. And that came from me being a little kid with my mom and dad going to at least one game every year. We would always go to a home game, and just the love of baseball. Like I said, I didn't even play football until 8th grade, so it was almost just baseball only, and basketball and football maybe at school, like for recess. But I had a real big love for baseball. I'm starting to get it back a little bit now. I'm excited about the new rules, but and definitely basketball will be LeBron James, and it wasn't always LeBron James. It was Vince Carter, but he retired, so that was right around the time when LeBron came, and I just fell in love with the whole story of LeBron, like having to be considered. He came in, they're saying he was supposed to be the best, and he's almost like getting to that point, and just to see the journey of a lot of people not thinking he'll do it, and he just keep going up them steps. So I'm excited to see the end of that. So just I'll say LeBron James.
Moving in the South, as soon as I turned into a Braves fan. I think my first year in South Carolina was when the Braves came from last to first and got into the playoffs and won the World Series.
Right.
So it was being a Mets fan coming down here, and it's like I was a Braves fan ever since. I still sort of have a little love for the Mets every now and then, just out of the heart.
The 95 Braves, or are you talking about the last World Series?
95.
Yeah.
95 Braves. Sorry about that. Yeah, as a child, like 95.
Hey, no,
Braves.
you good, man. That 95. Greg Maddox, one of my favorite all-time pitchers. Hey, I'm a Cubs fan. Like, love the Cubs through and through. So Greg Maddox always has a special place in my heart. And that Tom Glavine, John Smoltz, that Braves team, they had some dudes. Good time to be a Braves fan again. They could easily contend another World Series. So
right, it felt good.
Maddox should be like in a Hall of Fame of his own. There's like I think there's like Hall of Famers, and then there are Hall of Famers that on their worst night you couldn't touch them. Like the meme where you say, I asked Greg Maddox to paint my house, and all
and it's just the corners. Yeah. There's only one guy that could touch Greg Maddox, and that was Tony Gwynn. I think Tony Gwynn is the only person in baseball history that like hit over like 300 against him. Other than that, before we get out of here, I'll tell you a quick Greg Maddox. I read a book. It was his last year with the Cubs, and it was the pitching coach said, "Hey, Greg, we're thinking about taking you out." And he said, "Don't worry." I said, "This is what I'm about to do." I said, "This next guy's going to hit into a double play. The next guy, I'm going to get him pop out to the catcher." Like, it was like 2 on, no outs. And sure enough, next guy, he gets it, pulls into a double play. Next guy, next pitch, pops out to the catcher. Greg gets out of the inning. I mean, only Greg Maddox, right? Like,
That's crazy.
called it verbatim exactly what he was going to do. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, Mad Dog style. Like, that's just who he was, like, who he is. Like, it was incredible. So that's always a story that's kind of stuck with me about Greg Maddox. But, hey, where can everybody catch you guys at in you guys' next show?
You can catch us basically on all social at Rec Room Sports or at _Rec Room Sports. You can catch us same thing at Rec Room Sports on YouTube. You can catch us on Wednesdays, generally late Tuesday nights. We pretty much do the late night with night hours to try to be at least. But you can definitely catch us at Rec Room Sports on all platforms.
Yes, sir.
Hey, well, guys, I appreciate y'all joining me. I'll be back tomorrow night, Buffoon and Bodkins, right here on the Let's Talk Sports Network and the Bodkins channel. Please like, subscribe, share, hit that little bell. Y'all know what to do. Be a friend, tell a friend. For the Rec Room Sports boys, I appreciate y'all joining me. It's been a pleasure. We're going to get out of here. I'm going to hit that outro. We'll catch y'all tomorrow night, baby. We'll see you then. Bodkins and Buffoon.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Podcast also. Love your podcast.
All right, Bodkin. Appreciate
it. Thank you. Hit that outro.